Happy Tuesday if you're joining me. Welcome, welcome. I hope you guys are having a great first week of the new year. Just going to give everybody a few minutes here to get logged in. Perfect. To get logged in, I'm on the other end. So I'm just going to share this in the VIP group here. Perfect. Okay, well, if you're joining me today, good for you. You are sticking with hopefully some New Year's resolutions. Today is 3 moves in, I don't want to say 3 minutes because we're going to go a little bit longer, but today I really am trying to get things simpler for you guys. And sometimes I find if it's a big, long routine or if it looks intimidating, especially if you're just getting started out, I really want to this year teach you the art of simplicity. And a vibration plate is simply a tool to make your exercises, your positions simpler and more effective, especially if you are dealing with deficiencies of any kind, if you've got bad knees, bad hips. There's all kinds of different reasons that a vibration plate makes activity kinder on your body, and for many, even possible. So if you are joining me today, thank you for joining me. I'm just going to get into my Convo window here. Let's give you guys a couple more seconds. Okay. There is also a little bit of housekeeping. There is a feature deal, and there's still some amazing going on with Life Pro. Drop this one in the Convo window. Is feature deal is the Lever Red belt. Oh, hang on, lost connection there. Perfect. So that's in there now. So yes, if you have been following Life Pro's main page, not on Amazon, sometimes the items are different on Amazon as they are on site. I think my camera's a little low here. So there's different feature deals. There's been the Romblex, there's been the waiver. There's been quite a few opportunities. And today is the Lever Red belt. So up to 50% off if you shop direct with Life Pro in the USA. There's also some amazing deals on, of course, with Amazon, depending on what country you are in. So today is 3 different moves, and kind of the premise. Today's going to be a little bit more of a heart pumping, get calories flowing session. And if by the end of these 3 exercises, it wasn't long enough, you want to do a little bit more, you could redo them. Think of it more like a circuit. So you can do 2 or 3 sets perhaps of the exercises that I'm doing today. Many of them I've done before in other sessions, and I keep coming back to some of them because they're simple and they're effective. So many of these can also be modified if you wanted to add some weights or some other things. For those of you joining me today, thank you for joining me. If you have any questions, I'm going to leave some time at the end of my moves for you to do that. I'm still not myself. I still got lots of congestion in my lungs. My voice, I sound like some 80s rock star. So if at any time, I sound a little bit squeakish, perhaps that's why. So the first exercise we're going to do, and as always, I'm working on my Rumblex Plus. If you are working with a plate that does not have a certain amount of mass or a certain amount of size, some fitness exercises are better done on a heavier or a larger surface platform. Today, one of the moves I'm going to start with, which is step ups. If you're dealing with a little itty bitty plate or something super compact, Some of these exercises aren't ideal if you're working with something really itty bitty. It might be a little bit tippy. So use common sense if you are using these types of moves on a smaller plate. Hello, Miss Wilson from Campbell River. Thank you. I am feeling much better. Everybody's dealing with something here the last month or so, it seems. So I do all of my sessions, as always, in oscillating movement, for those of you that haven't joined me for a session in the past. In oscillating movement, I always recommend a mid-speed. This is not a treadmill. There's more than one factor at play. A mid-speed is going to be a little smoother. It's going to move you more times per second. It's going to feel a little smoother for those of you that are dealing with joint issues or maybe you just don't feel stable. And I'm going to complement it with also realistic foot placement. So the two things you control in oscillating are your speed, and the foot distance or hand distance from the center drives how strong the movement feels, or the impact. So think functionally. When we're walking across the floor, our feet are no more than hip width apart. So when we're stepping up onto the plate, I want you sort of in the mid position. If you find at any time it's too strong, reduce the foot distance, not speed. So we're going to simply start by stepping up and down. And I did this in a session last week. What pace you want to do this at, what you feel comfortable with, is your own level of conditioning or deficiencies you might be dealing with. Maybe you need to do it slower than that. Maybe you're just gaining stability, and this whole stepping backwards thing scares the heck out of you. I did show a modification to that last week using my trusty dusty Life Pro's Aero platform. So what I'm doing here is I'm placing it in front of the plate. For those of you that are maybe dealing with mobility issues, or the stepping backwards is not something you're comfortable with, you can keep walking, turn around, come this way. There's a million ways you can try this thing. Okay, so that's just a variation. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that. For those of you that are upright, mobile, feel comfortable, this is really cool if you got some good tunes with a good beat going. If you want to make it a little more challenging, you've been working out a little bit longer, you can keep the pace going, but let's add a leg lift while we're on the platform. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Just bring the knees up a little bit higher while we're doing this. I don't have music going, so I feel out of whack. Okay. If you feel stable. The other variation you could add to something like this, of course, is some additional weights in your hands. So I am picking up my trusty dusty Life Pro weights. I'm working with an additional 15 pounds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe you want to incorporate a little bit more upper body strength. Today I said was about burning calories. So the more you make your muscles work wherever they are in your body, the more calories you're going to burn. Okay. Just a variation. Maybe you have hand weights. Maybe you have a couple of milk jugs. Adding mass is a really good way to push the calorie burn and bring up the fatigue level. So that's exercise 1, step ups. It's going to get the heart rate going. I would suggest doing this anywhere from 1 to 2 minutes. If the goal is to really elevate the heart rate, pick up the pace, pick up some weights. You're going to have to play with how long you do that exercise. The next one is also legs. So we're going to step into, wait for it, you've seen me do it probably almost every session, is a squat. So squat, for those of you who aren't doing squats now, my feet are no more than hip width apart. I'm staying at the same mid-speed range. I'm at speed 30. I'm on a machine that offers 60 speeds. So I'm right in the middle. My knees are always slightly bent. This has been a debate for quite some time, but we're going to bend slowly. And what you'll find, the lower you bend, the more the movement suppresses in the legs, and you feel those quads working harder. If you want to add more fire to this, I'm going to take the smallest size of my yoga swirl rings. You can also use a ball. You've seen me do that exercise. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to place it just above the knees while I'm doing my squat. So just above the knees. It kind of aligns you in a really nice straight position, like I want you, hip width apart, but it forces those inner and outer thigh muscles, the hips. There's more going on, so we can bend down again. If you're dealing with like hypermobility or you're always collapsing inward or outward, this is a good tool to keep good alignment, but it also, like I say, fires more muscles. If you want to add dynamic movement and you're comfortable doing these exercises now, slow, purposeful moves. The faster you go, the more cardio you get, but you don't really build the load. You don't feel the burn on the muscles to the same degree. You could, of course, also add some hand weights back into this if you wanted to incorporate more mass into your exercise. Okay. Again, we're pushing for about a minute in this squat, whether you're moving, whether you're holding still. I would love to see you fatigue within 1 minute. Many of you ask me, how long should I do this for? Many I'm dealing with have hypermobility, arthritic joints, fatigue issues like I'm dealing with my cold right now. So I would suggest if you're not fatiguing within a minute, try and make the exercise more challenging for your level of conditioning, your range of motion. Perhaps if you've been using the same settings for a really long time, you just need to mix those up a little bit. Change something weekly. If you're doing these exercises, even though we're only doing 2 or 3 variations, your body gets used to anything over time, and we want to go with progression and not just maintain the progress that we've made. So the next one is a combination of kind of like a push-up and some plank work. So we're going to do upper body on the machine, but we're going to do some walking with our legs. So just bear with me a sec. I need to move my machine. Okay. So this one, if you've never done a push-up or seen any of my upper body videos, search the group. There's several. Just like standing, how far apart your hands are is going to drive the amount of movement or intensity you're subjecting your body to. So if you're doing push-ups now, you're doing them on your toes, great, good for you. If you're not, I suggest you work on the push-up a little bit more before you get into some of the scary stuff I'm going to be doing today. Perhaps you're reducing body weight by starting on your knees and just introducing yourself to how the movement feels. For this exercise, my hands are going to be hip width or shoulder width apart, and they're going to be positioned just under my shoulders. If you're looking down on your heads, you're getting the most head vibe. Push the body just slightly forward until they're in contact with the hands are just under the shoulders. So instead of this, you're looking like this, okay? So the first part of the exercise is getting into position. So my hands are shoulder width apart. My hands are just under my shoulders. We want a nice straight core. And what we're going to do with our toes is we're going to, depending on how flexible you are, we're going to walk up. Hold, 2, 3. You might need to bend your knees. Okay, get as close as you can. Keeping the shoulders over the hands. After 3, we're going to walk back. Hold, 2, 3. Then we're going to go for a walk again. Hold, 2, 3. If you find for you it's too much head vibe, this is hard for you, you're not able to do this yet, an alternative is switching your body around. So you can practice like this as well. Really depends on you. So we're putting the legs on the machine instead of the upper body. But we're walking in this instance with our hands instead. Okay? Really just something to play with depending on your range of motion, your flexibility. Okay? For those of you that are able, you're going to get a little bit more direct upper body action, but we walk with the legs on this one. So it depends on that flexibility. And again, on this one, I'd love to see a good 3-4 reps pushing for that 1 minute mark. If that's something you're feeling comfortable, any of these exercises, maybe it's just one or two that you're plucking out of this and adding to the routine that you're doing now. If you're not an exercise for purpose person, and you find, what was the stat I was reading this morning? By the second Friday of January, most people have given up on their New Year's resolutions already. So let's not call them New Year's resolutions. Let's just say I'm going to get shaken and I'm going to stick with it regularly. And I always find, for the decades I've been doing this, it's easier to stick with something simplistic and short and repeat those exercises than getting into a whole big elaborate routine, unless you're that person now or you've got a cookie cutter thing to follow. And cookie cutter's hard because so many of you are dealing with deficiencies, different understanding of the plate, and different goals that you are trying to accomplish. So just as a quick recap on this one, the three moves that we did, if you're just joining us, we started, it was kind of a warm up, get that heart rate up. We started with some step ups, okay, whatever your step ups look like. Okay, I added some hand weights as a variation. You want to fatigue within 1 to 2 minutes on that first exercise. The second exercise was a basic squat, incorporates more muscles than anything else and usually tones the areas that we as women in particular are looking to tone. We started dynamically or statically, I recommend you learn statically. Don't add the complication of movement, especially if you're dealing with anything joint related. You're just deconditioned. For those of you that are moving regularly and want to add dynamic movement or some mass, I added the small yoga swirl ring between my legs just to sort of incorporate additional muscle groups, keep better alignment, burn more calories, which is the theme of today's session. The last one was walk-ups. So we started in a basic push-up, keeping those shoulders over the hands. That's really going to eliminate 70 to 80% of the head vibe. We're going to walk up. We held it for 3 to 4 seconds. And we want to make sure that we're keeping those shoulders above the hands versus the head. If you're unable to do that, or you're not comfortable doing that type of an exercise, you can reverse and put your feet on the plate, hands on the ground, until you feel a little bit stronger and more stable. It is more challenging having the arms on the plate, especially for us ladies. Typically, this isn't our strong spot. Our strength is in the glutes and the quads. It's typically our upper body that is lacking, or that we're exercising regularly until we need to, or it's tank top season. So that's just an easy one that's going to get lots of core, lots of arm, and it's going to keep the cardio huff and puff rolling, if you will. So I hope you enjoyed those. As I said, the best way to get more out of a routine like that, if you want a longer workout, you can certainly add other positions to it. You can add variations of those positions, or you could do them as a circuit. So think of that as a set, those 3 exercises, and you could do them in 2 to 3 reps if that's something you wanted to push for a little bit longer. Get some good tunes. Before you know it, you're going to be looking for more challenge. And I'm going to be doing the 3 moves, different themes for the rest of this month. So for the rest of January, I'll be starting again on Mondays next week, and I'll be doing anything from just massage to some relaxation. There's going to be lots of different ones, but they're all going to be 3 moves. I want to really try and keep you guys focused and motivated and rolling into those habits by the 3rd or the 4th week of the month. So I hope that was enjoyable. I would like to now come to the camera and see who might have questions for me out there in Facebook land. Okay. Hello, Miss Kim. Hello, Roseanne. Oh, is the link not working? Let me see. Thank you, Roseanne. Perhaps that was me doing something wrong. The link is coming up. Okay, so hello, Roseanne. Hello, Kim. So nice to see you here, Roseanne. I do have a few of you here. It is now your time. So if you have questions for me, whether it's related to today's session, I know there's so many new users starting this time of year. If anybody has questions, I would love to hear from you. Or perhaps you know everything and you're so busy working out that you don't even have any breath left to talk to me. That's possible. No. Well, perhaps not. I do want to remind any of you that are maybe watching this on a recorded basis, if you do have any questions related to today's session or just perhaps other topics, maybe you're dealing with a condition or short-term injury, recovery situation, never hesitate to use the search function in the top corner, right-hand corner of the Facebook pages or on YouTube as well. 9 times out of 10, no matter what the topic, myself, Roseanne, or Amber has done a session on it. And, sometimes you're an existing user and things have changed and you've had a setback or you're ready to pick things up and you want to progress forward. So never hesitate to use the search function. Between myself, Roseanne, and Amber, there are hundreds of different videos. We're completely different trainers and we all have our different approach to utilizing all these amazing tools. So take a look. And the New Year's also a really good time. Sometimes we become complacent and we're not as mindful of progressions or sticking with it. So sometimes just moving and feeling better and taking more of a feel good or a symptom management approach to moving and feeling better. I know today darn near killed me and that's nothing compared to my normal workout, but I'm still, it's going on a month and I'm still coughing. I feel fatigued and I've got those body aches. I've sure been using the machine regularly, but not unlike I advise in many of my chronic conditions groups. I'm using it like 2 to 3 times a day for short sessions, the body aches, or, this morning I just sat down on it because my hips were really bugging me. I just slept funny or something. So there's lots of ways that maybe, you can't get to the workout because you're recovering from something, or you're like me and you're getting over an illness. There's still lots and lots of advantages to just boosting that lymph circulation, aiding in recovery, relaxing those tense muscles. I know people that have broken ribs just from coughing so hard. So there's all kinds of things our bodies go through, especially this time of year, and keeping moving even in the littlest capacity and keeping that lymph and circulation going is going to go a long way to improving your situation if you are not completely dealing with your regular self. So I hope that helps. I don't seem to have any questions. I want to thank you for joining me today. As I said, I will be here again next Monday, I believe at 5 p.m. 7 p.m., pardon me, Eastern Standard Time. And you guys have a great first real week back. It's going to seem like a long one for many of you with the holidays we've had over the last couple of weeks. So thank you very much for joining me. Don't work too hard and have a great rest of your week. Thanks so much for joining me today.